This is Philip once again from the hub. I want to give you guys a brief update on what we finished off our last update talking about, which were evacuations in Cinderland. We've heard on a scanner that the Hawaii Police Department has gone through and advised residents to be ready to evacuate, but not to actually evacuate yet. So the word right now is that the police want everyone to be ready in Cinderland to evacuate on short notice. So they've actually put out the alert for people to be ready to evacuate, but they have not called for mandatory evacuation yet. So this all relates to an overflow, unconfirmed overflow, whether it's an overflow exactly or a seep or what exactly, on an area by Cinder Road and Railroad Avenue. The reports are that the flow is about a quarter mile from Sanford's pit, and moving to the northeast. So in that case, it could actually get close to the intersection of Cinder Road and Railroad Avenue. We're not sure at all how fast that flow is moving. But we have heard that Civil Defense has gone through Cinderland, and they are not calling for mandatory evacuation, but they are advising everyone to be ready in case this little overflow picks up any steam. So that's the word, as they are calling for preparedness at this point, but not evacuations. They are concerned that overflow at the edge of the Railroad Avenue and Cinder Road is actually going to advance and threaten Cinderland, so they want people to be ready for that if it should actually happen. So right now there are no mandatory evacuations, but they are advising for preparedness, and they just sent out an alert maybe half an hour ago, maybe a little longer than that now, to everyone's cell phones, telling everyone to be ready to evacuate, but they're also stressing there's no threat yet. So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Kind of point it out on a map for you guys now that I have it all lined up. Just 1 second, let me get my camera turned around. Hi everybody. So if you're just joining us, we actually have a new map that was released. That didn't cover my last update, but what you can see here, overall pattern of the map is pretty similar. At the Kapoho area, we can see actually the big flow to the south that has almost reached the warm ponds, but seems to have not advanced towards it any farther, thankfully so far, so we'll see. The flow in the north has definitely expanded since the last mapping project, which was maybe 3 days before this one. I'll have to check on that, but it's been a few days. Over here, you can also see there's been an overflow near the corner, part of that diversion when lava flow actually got blocked and swung around. And it's also filled in a lot more of the inside of Kapoho Crater and Green Mountain. So there's been a lot of new flow down here as it's kind of been slowing down in its path through the lava delta towards the ocean. It's still going in the ocean in the middle, and a little bit in the north, and a lot in the south. So yeah, that's the situation right there. But what we're talking about right now is the fact that the Hawaii Police Department, we've been monitoring their scanners, has announced that there is an overflow in this area right in here. Let me zoom this in a little more. Let me see how I can do that. There we go. Alright, so this road right here is Railroad, and this road right here is Cinder Road. Cinderland is right in this area right over here. And the fear is that there's a overflow in an area right in here that could actually advance onto new ground. So that's what they're talking about right here. There's a possibility of the flow going this direction. So they've actually gone through door to door in Cinderland and advised people to be ready for the potential of evacuation, but they have not called for any mandatory evacuation yet, right? So just to recap, no mandatory evacuation. They've gone door to door in Cinder Road and advised people to be ready in case something like that happens. So the report is that the flow is a quarter mile from Cinder's pit. It's not, this is Sanford's pit right here. So it's somewhere in an area right in here under my finger, and maybe a quarter mile, they say. So in this range right here, and it's advancing in a direction to the northeast towards this intersection and along the edge of this crater right here. You can kind of see this flow is still kind of, we have to presume it's fairly small because there's actually been no evacuation ordered. They're just kind of preparing for the possibility because it's that close to people who have actually moved back in or are staying in the area for their own reasons. And that's the alert right there. Right, so one interesting thing to look at is the thermal image, how it relates in the area right there. So actually this is the one we have from a couple of days ago. And what you can probably see is, well, maybe not much until I point it out, but the cinder pit lobe is right up here. This is the old flow that kind of advanced north. That was the pink on the previous map. And so not much happening right in here, although you can start to see a little bit these little spots along the edge of the channel that are kind of separate. These are probably seeps, educated guess of what that actually might be. So that means the lava is actually able to push through underneath the rubble that forms the side of the channel, the levee, and maybe leak out there. It's hard to tell what path it might take or if that's really what's happening, but there's a potential that that's what's going on right in here, in these areas right in here. And to warn you guys, we saw a similar thing happen over here before this entire dynamic changed itself as well. So let me advance the slide. Here we are. Here's an image that was released today of scan yesterday morning. And okay, so you know, this is the area that we've been focusing on so far. Now we're actually going to go upstream to right in here. Right there is the cinder pit right there. And here's the old flow. There's Railroad Avenue right there. And so what I'm looking at is that seep right there, this one right here. I'm not sure if this one's involved. It seems like it's too far away to be one of the ones that they're talking about, but somewhere right in here. All right, so right in there. These are the possible sources of where the lava could be coming out to kind of flow around this side over here. This used to be uphill, right? But this new flow, which is marked by this gray area right here, filled it in. So now it's got its own topography, which doesn't actually correspond to what was there before. So, oh yeah, the generator is loud. Sorry, you guys. It's I think they had to switch it, and then the rain's louder. So I'm sorry about the noise. I'm still stuck on my laptop. I forgot my iPad today. So yeah, well, thanks for bearing with me, and for anybody who's watching this later on YouTube, I apologize, but all these feeds come from Facebook Live. We can have interaction over here with our followers, and my iPhone X does not let me start the feed in landscape mode. So I apologize for that. I hope to figure it out. If anyone's got any input, I'll take it. But back to the eruption update, essentially there's a small flow in an area over here, and the fact that it's kind of outside the bounds of the channel is probably what's got the authorities concerned, rightly so. And so they've gone through Cinder Road, and I'm not sure how many people live there. Someone actually says maybe only a couple. I think, based on the scanner report, it didn't take them that long to talk to everyone down there, right? Maybe half an hour or something like that. So I don't think there was a whole lot of people over there, but we do know, just want to let you guys know, if you're anywhere in the area, if you got that alert from the civil defense on your phone, it said, be ready for possible evacuation from Cinderland. That is, that's what they're talking about right there. So we don't have a whole lot of solid information. We're still monitoring scanners, and nothing's coming through in a while. It's been maybe half an hour to an hour since there's any report of that. So I have to assume that there is no imminent threat based on that, right? We just have to trust that they're there. I'm sure that they're there watching that thing advance. And someone mentioned on Puna Lava updates, that they did confirm the flow there, and that they couldn't get enough cell phone signal to post a picture. So it seems like several sources are actually telling us the same thing, and that's why we're confident now to report that something is going on over there. Even though quite often you guys are right on it, the first reports you guys tell us, we'd like to hear it from a couple different places first, just to make sure it's the right place or the right time or all of that kind of thing. So on this map right here, let me zoom up. The Cinderland area is right in here, right in there, where my arrow is. Cinder Road, you maybe can see it. Whenever you draw this arrow, it goes like that to there, and here is Railroad Avenue right there. Okay, so that's the area. They're saying the flow is somewhere in an area over here, probably on top of the old flow still. Although someone did report seeing white smoke, which would mean that flow has reached the edge somewhere to burn some vegetation over here, and that's probably why the alert went up. Was because of that. So. Hey guys, yeah, thanks for your reassurance. I know that people on YouTube would prefer to be landscape, and so would I, but I will I'll do what I can to get that as soon as I can, get it sorted out on there. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in some of other descent maps, let me see what I can get for you guys. Just a minute while I pull it up here. Thank you to the Hawaii Tracker Group and Les Peterson, who have made a lot of these maps possible. Oops, this is maybe not the right one, but let me go back. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so the area we're concerned with is right in here. And remember, underneath this pink zone, everything has changed, right? So this lines in here is how it used to be before lava was on there. So you can ignore everything there. The flow is kind of flowing downhill in this direction. Then burning greenery, then it's somewhere in an area around a boundary, somewhere around here. And you can see that no matter which way it goes from there, it kind of goes towards this pink line, or, you know, at best this pink line, but in either case it feeds into here, which feeds into this blue line, right? Now if this flow is just tiny like we're expecting it is right now, then it's not even going to get that far, right? But that's why there's so much concern, and maybe why they've called evacuation is because it's a path where it hasn't gone before, right? So we're not gonna predict anything beyond that, you know. You guys can look and see where that goes beyond that, but until the flow starts actually moving anywhere with any distance, it's not really worth worrying about what's downhill from there, in my opinion, and worrying people. So yeah, thanks a lot to Les for that. You guys can see the reason we're pulling in Les to do these updates is because, let me show you guys the USGS map once again. The USGS map doesn't show nearly as much detail. It just shows us the one blue line, right? That's why we'd like to know over here exactly what happens if this flow is somewhere in an area over here, right? So that's what we're talking about. And that's our update. Yeah, we can keep it kind of brief for here. You know, we haven't talked about this map so much, you know, but really it's similar as we've talked about in our previous updates. You know, maybe it's interesting to see how much the flow is advanced to the north, which shows the north flow is certainly still active and advancing, right? Even if it is just kind of creeping to the side, it's still doing that. And the thing that was maybe not as noticeable to me when I looked at the photographs at first was how much more within the area of Green Lake has been filled as well. You can see there's quite a lot of additional output there, likely corresponding to the breakout of the south branch over here, when it seems to be feeding the flow all the way over here. In fact, yeah, you see like all the way at the south side of the Popo crater right over here. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. And that's pretty much it for the map. But if you guys are just joining us, the reason I did this extra update is just to let people know why they got an alert on their phones. You know, we have had reports of an overflow in an area right around here, right around Cinder Pit, and this flow is supposedly a quarter mile from the pit, and it's moving northeast. It seems like it's moving fairly slowly. And because of that possibility, if the flow were to pick up steam and go this direction, they've actually gone door to door and advised Cinderland residents to be prepared to evacuate, but they have not called for anything mandatory, right? Just so everyone can see, just so everyone can understand, you know, nothing mandatory, but they want everyone to be prepared, right? So if anyone is there and watching in the area, you know, now's the time to be getting all your stuff together, right? And hope nothing happens, and hope it's just another practice drill, right? Just like we go through our tsunami drills every month. Right, same kind of thing. It's time for a drill right now. Get all your stuff together and ready, and hopefully nothing else comes of it than that. So yeah, as far as the cameras, I can't look at that camera right while I'm doing this update right now, but almost all the cameras today are showing a huge amount of steam. It's been super rainy in the area. A lot of the area is hot. There are, you know, even areas that are steaming today from other cracks that are causing people to wonder, you know, if there's more activity happening, you know. But in fact, I think it's just the rain is kind of exposing, right? The rain is like our version of a thermal image, right? Wherever the rain falls and it starts steaming, we know it's hot, right? So that's one thing, you know. So areas along those cracks that are hottest will be putting out the most steam. That's maybe like a wake-up call for that. I'm pretty sure that the county officials are up on the Cinder Pit, monitoring 24/7, so I'm pretty sure that they're going to be there for sure. So there you have it. Let's see if there's any other questions I can answer. I think I better leave it at that. If there are any pictures posted online, we will share them as well. I'll share them as well. But for now, it's just a matter of being prepared for possible evacuation. So it's not a last-minute thing, right? So think about your pets first, right? Your irreplaceable photographs, those kind of things, documents, as always, right? And if you've been wondering about staying in there, then this might be something to consider, the possibility that the flows may spill over in that direction. So once again, okay, so if you guys want to know about the hop-ons, I'll give you another hop-ons update. Yesterday I had reported Ursa Mori's figure of lava flow being about 300 yards away from the worm ponds, this distance right in here. Today USGS is reporting it 500 meters, so still 500 meters, half a kilometer away. So that's great. Most of the flow seems to be going in the ocean, but it is still creeping to the side, and we're unclear how much flow is surging down the channel. I can show you guys a thermal image once again. There it is. You can see that this thermal map is clearly pointing down. The channel is clearly moving to the south. Right here it is, all the way to here. There's a little bit of a artifact of the data right here, showing a line, which is just probably how they're measuring it. It's a little less clear down in this lower section, but the flow seems like it goes all the way through and going all the way down to the ocean right here, right? And there's our worm pond, right? And we looked at the lines of steepest descent a little while ago, and are actually, it seems like this is a separate basin that comes from uphill over here. So long as it kind of stays on this side, we have hope still that it'll stay there and it won't spill over. Although there is a spot where it could spill over and head that direction, but there is no evidence of that happening yet. So for now, we're still cautiously optimistic, hopeful perhaps, more so, because having a giant river of lava even 500 yards away is not good. Right, so looking at our thermal image of the area that's now of concern, it's right up in here. And we suspect the flow is somewhere at the margin of this recent flow over here, somewhere on the edge over here, right? And it's possible that it may have come from these seeps through here. It's possible it spilled over the channel. Some spillovers are recently over here. Although the photograph we saw from USGS this morning showing their lava channels being actually a little lower with their banks exposed, kind of an area over here, would lead me to believe that there's maybe a slightly higher chance that there might be a seep, possibly from here, kind of where it's kind of gone under the edge of the channel and it's coming out the sides there and there and there, right? And that's important because, the channel doesn't have to be full for that to happen, for one, so we don't have to have a spillover for that to happen. It could actually kind of go through the wall in a way. And it's also important because if it's got a lower elevation than a spillover from the top of the channel. So the overflow has a hard time getting all the way out. It can only spill over from the volume that's above it, right? If the seep happens, then it might actually have a chance to pull more volume that direction. So we'll anxiously wait and see what's happening there. Yeah, but it does seem like there is the potential of a threat. We could once again be optimistic and hope it just kind of stalls out. But it does not hurt, as Arthur is suggesting in our comments, to start getting your stuff together and maybe make a practice run. It's time for your essentially a moving out drill, right? Hopefully move out, move in. And there's a lot of people who wish they would have done more trips ahead of time, just in case, right? And there are things they couldn't get, right? So we all hope that nothing comes of this, but now you still have time to do something if it does come to it, right? So that's kind of just for your Cinderland area people. So yeah, if you guys once again are tuning in to hear about the school, school and a warm pond and a surf spot are all right in here, and the flow is about 500 yards away. Now it's important to say that this image that we're looking at right here, this thermal map, is from yesterday morning at 6 a.m. So it's already almost 36 hours out of date. And we're just looking for clues of what's happening there, right? Our other map that was put out by USGS 2 p.m. today is probably more reliable, but it doesn't show anything in that area of the Cinder pit lobe right up there. And this is the area we're concerned with right here. Yeah. So, all right, guys, that is what we have to share. You know, it's not a whole lot of information right now. It's just a fact of trying to explain what Civil Defense has put out, the rationale being well-founded, right? Listen to those guys, you know, I mean, they are trying to give warning right now. Yeah, so now's the time to listen, yeah. Maybe, I mean, there's not a lot of people that are going to be affected by this particular area, right? But especially the area right through here, right? Right in there, this upper section. And once again, I've been, just to reiterate, we've been listening to the scanner all afternoon, and there's been very little report on anything happening with that front, so I don't think it's moving very fast. So this may turn out to be more of a drill after all, but in case it's not, you know, this is the first step towards a potentially greater event, you know, and my goal is not to scare anyone, but to give you information that you can make your own informed decisions, right? So take that as you will. And if there are no other questions, I'm going to wrap it up, keep it short before my battery dies, and anything else we hear, we'll bring another update, we promise, as usual. So, all right, guys, stay classy. Aloha.